So I'm here today with the summer solstice tarot talk. It is that time of year. We are at the midpoint now, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, however you celebrate. So one of the things I like to do at each of the solstice points is just to have a catch up with myself. And basically when we do the winter solstice, it's all about setting, you know, the intentions that we want to take through this coming year. And then when we get to the summer, it's kind of like that little catch up and just seeing how things have been going, and if there's anything, you know, that we need to change, let go of. So yeah, so really important thing is when you're doing this is write your questions down in your journal, or at least on a piece of paper. That way then you don't forget what you're asking. Now for this one, I've purposely picked out some cards that you might think are like quite difficult ones for what they're put in, as into like the question categories. So for this video I'm just looking at 3 questions. Feel free to use these ones if you want to create your own spread, or just add on from these as well. But obviously if I did like 6-7 questions, we'd be on here for probably over an hour, because I do have a tendency to yap on. So question 1 is what lessons have I learned in the last 6 months? So this is looking at reoccurring themes, and are you actually learning from anything? Are you trusting your intuition more with each lesson that comes by? Second question is, what energy do I need to let go of? So this is something that you're holding on to that's no longer serving you. And then what energy do you need to invite in for the rest of the year? So this is focusing on like what you need to work with for the higher good. So for the what lessons have I learned in the last 6 months, I picked out the 5 of Wands for that. So basically in this kind of spread, if you're looking at what have you learnt, and then you're looking at the 5 of Wands, you know, you can see there's quite a lot going on there. It's very competitive, there's a lot of clambering, pushing. So with this, you might look at this and look at it as, what lessons have I learned? Well, maybe that I've been trying to kind of like push my way to the forefront too much. Have I done this ethically, you know, especially with it being Wands? It tends to be linked to the career, so sometimes it can be, have you been trying to, you know, push others down to basically get to where you want to be? Or maybe you're in the other position where you're at the bottom and you're allowing yourself to be pushed around too much. So like I say, when you're reading the cards, read with your intuition. When you're looking at the guidebook, you know, you're just going to get this one generic answer, which you might look at it and think, well, that doesn't really fit where I am. But it could be that you're in either of these positions. So is it, you know, are you learning a lesson that you're being too dominant, and, you know, you're trying to kind of like dim other people's spark? Or are you the person that's just letting yourself being pushed around, and you do need that bit more fire in your belly? So yeah, this is the kind of way that you just need to read everything and just see how this is applying to you, you know. And then whichever position you're in, if you are the one that's kind of being like this power hungry and deviant, trying to push everybody around, maybe the lesson that you need to learn is to just like rein that in a little bit, just be maybe a little bit more compassionate. And if you view yourself as being at the bottom of the heap, then maybe that's just inviting you just to kind of like almost get a bit more of a backbone, and, you know, be more assertive rather than just constantly letting people push you around all the time. Okay, now for the what energy do I need to let go of, I've purposely picked out the Sun for that. And the reason for this is because I myself have pulled this card out before in these kind of positions, and you're like, oh, why would I want to let go of this sunshiny, vibrant energy? But sometimes what can happen is we're kind of like just trying to constantly be in the light all the time, you know, especially in like the spiritual community. There's this big emphasis on you know, being constant love and light, everything being like fluffy clouds and rainbows, and almost kind of like shunning the darkness and not accepting like that shadow side of ourselves. So if you pull this up in a what do I need to let go of situation, then that's pretty much just calling you just to maybe like kind of stop trying to be this constant radiant being who's, you know, literally the walking embodiment of love and light. Maybe this is your call now that you need to do a little bit more shadow work. So you need to just let go of the energy of constantly trying to avoid everything, because in a way where that sits that you are. So I'm a bit croaky. So this is a very much like avoidance card, in that kind of a position where you're just trying to not acknowledge any of those darker sides of your personality. So in that position, you need to just look at it as, you know, stop trying to be the good guy constantly and being the person that everybody loves, because life doesn't quite work that way. Now, for the one, what energy do I need to invite in for the rest of the year? So this is focusing on your higher God. I purposely picked out a card that nobody ever likes to see, which is the Three of Swords, which is the heartbreak card. So again, you might, if you pulled a card in this position, you might be like, why the hell would I want to invite in heartbreak and trauma and grief into my life? Again, this is one of those things that is very much avoided. People try and avoid working through their grief and, you know, their own heartbreak. Again, they'll just try and like put it on the back burner, put a lid on things and just try and suppress it. And, you know, it's that age-old thing of when people ask you, how are you doing? You just be like, oh yeah, I'm fine, I'm great. Nobody ever wants to talk about the nitty-gritty. So if you pulled this in that kind of a situation where you were looking at, right, what do I need to invite in for the rest of the year? I'd say that that would be inviting in doing some deep healing work and actually working with your own emotions, allowing it, accepting it, and moving on with it in that way, in a healthy manner, rather than trying to put a lid on it. So as you can see, you know, when you first, at a first glance, when you look at them in this spread, you'd be like, there's absolutely no way I want to invite this energy in. But if you look at it a little bit deeper and on that level, then yeah, that is absolutely sometimes something that we do need to work with. So I hope that has been helpful for you, just as you know how to read the cards in different situations. Like I said, feel free to use these as a little template, or if you want to add to it or add even more questions, that's amazing. But yeah, just see how you get on with that. If you pull any cards you're not too sure about, just feel free to drop it in the comments and I will reply and get back to you about it, okay? But I hope everybody has an amazing solstice and celebrate however you feel is best for you. You know, I am going to be hosting a sound bath today, so I'm going to be bringing tarot to that with me. And then, yeah, just some like cacao, setting my own intentions, and maybe a few little witchy rituals as well. So have an amazing week and I will catch up with you very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.